Meet the Flame Trooper, a tortured individual who will use fire and flame to destroy the taint of mutation. The Flame Trooper has Strength 6, Perception 4, Endurance 9, Charisma 1, Intelligence 6, Agility 1 and Luck 2. A Strength of 6 shows that the Flame Trooper is a strong guy and will also give us access to some great perks. Perception isn't actually all that useful for this build, but I decided to raise it a little just for the purpose of perks. However, this also means that VATS accuracy isn't too terrible. Endurance is the highest stat of this build, sitting at 9. The Flame Trooper is insanely tough, and this stat shows that. It takes a hell of a lot of firepower to take this guy down. Charisma is bottomed out at 1. This character isn't a talker. Problems are solved through actions, not words. An Intelligence of 6 helps this character level at an acceptable rate, and will also get us access to some other great perks. Agility is bottomed out at 1. There is some use to this stat later on in game, but at the beginning we really won't need many action points. Finally, a luck of 2 shows that the Flame Trooper really isn't all that lucky. Things don't go his way, and it seems life is always trying to play some cruel trick on him. The essential perks for this build are Armourer, Science and Heavy Gunner. Armourer and Science are here primarily to help with modding your power armour. You've got a kick-ass suit with this build, so you want to use it to its full potential. Heavy Gunner is going to be the main damage dealing perk for this build. You use some awesome big guns with this character, so you'll want to be dishing out as much damage as possible. The recommended perks for this character are Scrounger, Adamantium Skeleton, Life Giver, Solar Powered and Gun Nut. Scrounger will be incredibly helpful whilst playing this build. Not only will this help with your ammo reserves, it also means you have a chance of finding additional fusion cores and containers, making it far easier to stay in power armour throughout the entire game. Adamantium Skeleton will stop your limbs from being crippled, and helps to both represent how tough the character is, and also make sure you don't slow down or lose accuracy. I found that crippled limbs had quite a large effect on this build, so this perk is worth grabbing. Life Giver and Solar Powered will both increase the health of this build, and give him regeneration. These are some of my favourite perks in the game, and are great for making this character incredibly hard to kill. Lastly, Gun Nut doesn't get a ton of use with this character, but it's definitely handy to have, just to make sure that the weapons you're carrying around are as powerful as they can possibly be. The role-playing perks are Chemist, Demolition Expert, Strongback, and Agility Training. Chemist makes any drugs you use last up to 200% longer, and can be an incredibly powerful perk. For this build, it helps to represent the Flame Trooper also self-medicating himself. Why is he doing that, you ask? Well, stick around for the backstory and you'll find out. Demolition Expert is a powerful offensive perk that makes explosions more powerful and therefore more badass. I mainly use Molotov cocktails whilst playing this character in order to keep with the fire theme of this build, and Demo Expert helps to keep them powerful even in the later game. Strongback helps represent that the Flame Trooper is a very strong guy, and it's also just handy to have in order to give you more carry weight. And finally, you may wish to put some points into Agility during the late game, so that you can use your jetpack for longer periods of time. Obviously you won't have a jetpack for quite a long time, so you won't need this early on, but it gives you something to dump level ups into once the build is fully fleshed out. The Flame Trooper was a relatively unremarkable person for most of his life. He was a patriot, had a good mind, and was always in decent physical shape. After he left education, he decided to pursue life in the military. He was well suited to the role of a soldier, performing well in all drills and obeying orders without question. His diligent performance in both training and in combat led to him being chosen for an experimental drug trial to improve him as a soldier. He was sent to a West Tech facility along with several other soldiers, and they were all injected with the same serum. After a moment, he felt a cold wave rush over him, and he passed out. He woke up sometime later in a strange room, along with some of the other soldiers who had been in the trial. They were all lying on the ground, perfectly still. It was quite clear that they were all dead, and the Flame Trooper was confused as to what was going on. He didn't have a chance to work things out though, as a light appeared in the other end of the room, and in an instant, the place was engulfed in flame. Feeling the fire wash over him, the trooper worked out that he was in an incinerator, and was about to die. He accepted his fate, and closed his eyes, embracing the pain that he felt. However, he didn't die. He was burnt by the flames for what felt like an eternity, but eventually the fire stopped and he opened his eyes. The other bodies had been charred to a crisp, and his own body hadn't completely escaped the same fate. Looking down at his skin, it was horrifically burned, and he could smell the charred flesh all around him. As he was still coming to grips with the fact that he was alive, the room began to tilt, and a large bay door opened at the bottom end. The burnt body slid down towards the opening, and the flame trooper was helpless to do anything but go with them. They fell into a large container filled with garbage, literally having been thrown out with the trash. He ended up passing out from the pain before he was able to escape, and woke up sometime later in the middle of a trash heap. He crawled his way to the top, and saw the sky for the first time in what felt like a lifetime. He walked into a town, and was greeted with horrified looks and people running away from him in fear. His clothes were tattered, and his skin was burnt and misshapen, making him look like a monster from one of those Grognat comics. Despite this, one woman walked over to him and offered up her jacket. With a smile, the trooper accepted and thanked the woman. Having no place to go, the woman offered him a place to stay too. They lived together for a while, and he learnt more about her than he had known about anyone else. She was a lawyer who had always wanted to stand up for people who couldn't defend themselves, and she was easily one of the most genuinely caring people he had ever had the fortune of meeting. After a few years of living together, they ended up getting married and even had a son. In order to try and keep the constant pain at bay, the trooper started to self-medicate, crafting his own form of painkillers from several other drugs. This constant state of being medicated meant that he never seemed fully aware of everything around him, and would sometimes drift off within his own mind. The flame trooper came to view himself as having had two lives, one in the military, where he was a mindless drone, and one after he had been incinerated and found the love of his life. This led to him having an obsession with fire, seeing it as a cleansing force that purified all that it touched. This obsession will go even further when he wakes up from cryosleep. He will want to purify the waste with fire, and cleanse the mutants that are taking over the Commonwealth. The main faction for this build is the Brotherhood of Steel. This faction loves power armor, mutant slaying, and using righteous fire, so it is perfect for the Flame Trooper, who holds a deep resentment towards mutation, due to the way people treated him after he underwent his own transformation. You will also be helping out the Atom Cats. The Atom Cats don't care that he is all burned up. They think that the Flame Trooper is awesome because he's such a fan of power armor. He will be grateful that there are people out there who he can spend time with who don't turn away from him and look at him with disgust. The main companion for this build is Paladin Danz. He will share in your zealous passion for killing mutants, and really likes it when you put on your power armor. He will also help to keep you true to the path of the Brotherhood and fulfill their goals. The main weapons of this build are Sergeant Ash and Ashmaker. These two big guns really help to define the character. Sergeant Ash is an amazing flamer that can cripple enemies, leaving them helpless to do anything. And Ashmaker is a minigun that has the incendiary legendary effect, meaning it deals burn damage and can set enemies alight. You may also want to grab a missile launcher and a fiery laser rifle. The missile launcher is good for dealing a quick bit of damage, and the fiery laser rifle gives you a backup weapon that if you ever run out of ammo, that still fits with the fiery theme of the build. All you need to do to make this weapon is to add a gamma wave emitter to a laser gun, which adds burning damage to it. This character wears Atom Cat's T60 power armor. This is an awesome looking suit of power armor, which ties into both of the factions for this build. The Atom Cat's paint provides an additional point of charisma and reduces sprint cost. You will also want to mod out the torso with a jetpack, in order to travel around easier and add even more fire to the character. This character plays as a fire-themed tank build. Go around the waste eliminating all of the mutants you encounter and purifying the Commonwealth with the cleansing light of fire. The Flame Trooper is horrified with his physical appearance and what he has become, so he will always try to hide his body in a suit of power armour, and also seeks to kill any other mutants he encounters. In terms of gameplay, use Ashmaker to kill enemies at range, and when they get close, switch to Sergeant Ash to cripple them and finish them off. You also have a large amount of drugs at your disposal, which you most definitely should use. Fudge Muppet were 100% right when they said that Jet makes the Flamer look better, and I encourage you to use Jet a fair amount with this build, not only for a cinematic purpose, but also to help with aiming and to close distance with enemies. Thank you all for watching this build. I sincerely hope that you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you aren't already, and please like the video and share it if you enjoyed watching it. It really helps the channel to grow. Make sure to keep tuning into the channel to keep up to date with all of the great content that's being uploaded. And if you want to watch another video right now, then click on one of the links on screen. They're both great videos that I'm sure you will love.